We had a kitchen fire a few months ago, but thankfully everyone is safe. The kitchen, however, took a bit of a hit. We've got new appliances now, but we do have to replace the flooring and the countertop, so I think it's a good opportunity to update the backsplash as well. It was love at first sight when I found this tile. It's a glazed basalt, which is a lava stone, and I really love the matte finish and the reflective finishes, and it actually picks up the copper tones of the wood, so the hues just change constantly. It's very alive. Now I changed the countertop as well. I upgraded to a quartz, and I went with a nice warm gray that ties in really well with the existing granite, because I wasn't ready to change that. And because I was changing the countertop, I had the opportunity to rethink the sink. I went as wide as I could, but I still wanted to have the second one, so I just made that as small as possible. Of course, I changed the faucet as well. That's a nice upgrade. But the other thing that makes a huge difference, that alone can make a big difference, is changing the hardware on the older cabinets. This heavier black metal ties in really well with the new theme. Now for the floor, it does look familiar because I replaced it with the exact same marmoleum. It's very practical, but I did top it up with a nice area rug just so I have some comfort underfoot.
And it looks gorgeous. Now, Sharon, earlier in the show, you showed us how to create a dark, moody look for a space, and it was beautiful and dramatic. You can see it right now in this shot. You've got the gorgeous colors. You've got a little bit of contrast, but mostly it's layered nice and dark. Now we're going to the other end of the spectrum with a lighter tone-on-tone pale palette, and you have some tips so that we can sort of get this look at home. But as soon as I walked back out to the set, I feel the flattering light and the glow of these gorgeous pastels. Like, this is a beautiful space.
And that's the thing you really have to think about, is how you want to feel in that space. And everybody has a personal preference, and a lot of us go from a dark space to a light space 5 years later. Like, you like to mix it up. But the fear that a lot of us have about it, or the problem that you see as designers, is that it can feel very sterile.
Yes.
So I thought we can talk about things that you can do to kind of keep it feeling lively, warm it up, so it's not so dull. So again, talking about the wall color, obviously a light wall color is going to make a big difference. Now, you know me, I tend to not use a white. Ever. You know, there's always something that I want to pull the undertone. So this is Balboa Mist. It's actually one of Benjamin Moore's 2019 trend colors, but it's a classic, don't get me wrong. But it's got a little hint of gray, a little hint of green, so it kind of warms things up a little bit. And I kind of like how that really works to sort of set the tone, because we've got some white pieces in this set, and you want there to be a little bit of contrast. So again, really think about the whites that you do bring into the space and vary them. So you want to have some different values, and by value I mean even if it's all grays, you want to have to the point of white and to maybe a bit of a darker gray. This time we want to lean towards the light side and not have too much going to the dark side. So there's a bit of a dark pattern in the rug, and pattern is another thing that can really fill the space and bring it, make it a little bit more dynamic, so that it's not dull and sterile. So that pattern is tone on tone, but again, we want to mix patterns. The more patterns you bring into the space, the more dynamic it gets. So we don't have a lot. We've got a little bit of striping. Again, we've got this beautiful twill.
Same chair.
Same chair.
Works so well in both spaces.
It adds like a contrast in the other space, and here it just sort of brings a bit of heaviness, a bit of texture. It's got the texture and a little bit of pattern. And again, your artwork is also a great way to bring elements in of pattern and texture, and of course color.
Absolutely. I love the way you've used the pale pink throughout the space.
Isn't it nice?
Because a lot of people don't want to go in the direction of too pinky pink.
Right.
And this is the right amount, just a touch of it in the art, and the beautiful ottoman. And it's so tempered that you could almost say it's a beige, but there's still a little bit of blush pink happening.
You know, if you brought this into a darker space with sort of terracottas and dark woods, it would feel more like a beige. And that's why I always say it's all about context. Because you can take that piece into different spaces and it's going to feel different. So again, we've got pattern, we've brought in a little bit of color. You could bring in a bit of mint, you could bring in a bit of blue. The key is to keep it light and fresh, is to use pastels. Keep everything relatively light. Mix in some texture, different textures. So we've got this almost suede feel. We've got a bit, it's like a banana leaf fiber and wool in the rug, so you get a little bit of sheen. We've got a little bit of sheen here. I actually used an eggshell wall paint this time, so it's actually got a little tiny bit of sheen as well. So you want to bring some reflective finishes into this look. Balance off with your whites. And really another way is to bring in golds, bring in different metals, warmer metals, little bits of woods, little bit of wood.
Yeah, to have that rustic, grounded feeling.
It's the grounding. That's what you need to do to sort of keep it from just feeling too sort of airy-fairy.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like you're in a hospital. You want to feel like you're in a living space, right?
So bring life into it.
Speaking of living spaces, we've got some gorgeous pictures of other spaces that have been done really nice and light and bright. Look at this beautiful
light
kitchen.
And bright, and then you can bring color into it. And they can be, these are a little bit more saturated, a little bit poppier colors, but doesn't that change the feeling? It becomes a little more whimsical.
Absolutely.
So fun, fun, fun. Paint your furniture, easy way to change things up.
And then we also have these other shots here. So 2 other spaces, beautiful light and bright, but you see on the one side you've got the heavy colored wood.
The heavy wood, and that's an antique, and it works because everything else around it is light, the light white carpet. And then in this bathroom, the vanity's pink. And now if that vanity was dark wood, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Right.
So painting it in a color, that light head over heels, it just feels very light and fresh. So it's very similar to the set that we created here.
Head over heels, I like
Isn't
that.
a nice name?
That's a good name. Again, everything in the set is from LT Market, so you can go shopping. Thanks, Sharon.